Movies nowadays, like any era, like any society, things change. Standards change, morality changes, expectations change, things change. Why? Because it's nature. Change is nature. Evolution, things like that. And of course, they say get with the times, get with the times. If you don't get with the times, you get left behind, blah, blah, blah. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who has seen and felt this. How the movies of today don't have the spark or the magic that it used to have back in the days. I am a 90s baby. We were at the time where we came home, when it was time to come home. It was when the street lights came on. It was time to go home. We were mischievous yet respectful. And from the 90s, 80s, because I watched movies from the 80s, I still do. Like Goonies, E.T., Mac and Me, those movies. The movies nowadays, I feel like their tone has changed. And is a lot more obvious. And the reason why I say this is because the last two movies I have seen in theaters, one I didn't like, period. One I felt like was a complete washout. That was Nosferatu, didn't like Nosferatu. Kraven the Hunter, if I had to choose between Kraven the Hunter and watching Nosferatu, again, I would choose Kraven the Hunter. Because at least with that movie, it didn't simplify certain stuff, but it was still a lot more entertaining, and it was, straight to the point. It didn't drag. It was like, this is how he became to be. This is why he became to be. This is why he's doing it. He's got some beef with his father, so what he's doing is a way to get back at his father, things like that. But how and why he's able to do the stuff that he's able to do, what exactly, is Rhino's problem, things like that. There were just mostly things that you noticed, but it didn't take away from the movie. You just wish that it still simplified it. I understand many movies want to overspecify stuff because then you lose the audience. But I do feel like when it comes to a superhero film, some things do need to be simplified. Just so the audience understands the hero and can root for the hero or villain. And can relate to them in some shape or form. Everyone was wanting Loki when the Avengers came out. The first Avengers came out, I believe, 2012, and Loki was the main villain of that film. Or at least upon everyone wanted Loki. Because if it wasn't for Thor, we wouldn't know who Loki was. Now, unless you read the comic books, okay, fine. But, back then, as I'm saying, that was like, things were specified why it went the way it went. There was a reason why it had to go the way it did. And there we go. But movies aren't like that anymore. Now movies are so predictable to a point where you're now seeing the whole movie practically in the trailers. Many of us have seen it. There is this new movie that is coming out later this year called Flight Risk. It was directed by Mel Gibson, who is a brilliant actor, and he's also a director. He directed Apocalypto and Hacksaw Ridge. He's directed it. he is directing this movie called Flight Risk, which stars Michelle Dockery, who is well known for her role in Downton Abbey. Topher Grace, who you all may be familiar with him in his work in That 70s Show, and an array of movies like Take Me Home Tonight, Spider-Man 3, he played Eddie Brock in that rendition. And then you have Mark Wahlberg, which, he's a businessman, entrepreneur, actor. He was in movies like The Fighter, Boogie Nights, Fear, Lone Survivor, Transformers. He's been around. He's been around. When I saw the trailer for Flight Risk, now I don't know what Mr. Gibson was trying for. I'm sure he has an idea, because, directors execute movies in the way they want to be executed. And the actors can only trust the director and their direction because they're only going off by script. They can only go by what they're being directed to do. So, at no point do I ever blame the actors when I see a movie. It's more like, okay, well, the joke's not on them, it's on the director. Shame on the director for putting that actor in that position. And I always said that, and then I even have to go like, well, even I have to remind myself when I see certain actors that I like Nicolas Cage, he's done so many movies. Some were like, what the heck were you thinking? Others were like, okay, that's so cool. And others you wish that they didn't take the role at all. But like any job, like any person, we do it for the job. We need money to pay bills. We need money to eat. So they're human too. It's just everyone likes to put a spin on it and say, well, it's different from being a banker. It's different from being a lawyer. Those are jobs. And you're getting paid to do those jobs because you got bills to pay, Everything going expensive and stuff like that. You need bills. You need money to pay the bills, like I said, I don't know what Mr. Mel Gibson's vision was, but I won't be watching this movie because right in the trailer, it tells what the plot is. If you guys haven't seen the trailer, go watch it. Don't continue to watch this video if you haven't seen the trailer. If you have seen the trailer, keep on watching it. If you guys haven't seen the trailer and don't really care about spoilers, okay. However, you've been warned. Mark Wahlberg's the bad guy. Basically, Topher Grace's character is being escorted by Michelle Dockery's character. She's a special agent that's escorting him because he is to testify against people that they have been after. Mark Wahlberg is the pilot. And as the trailer continues, it turns out that he is a hitman to basically neutralize Mr. Grace's character. Because he just says, the family's very unhappy with you. They're like a madman. Now, Mark Wahlberg has played the bad guy before. In Fear, he has played a bad guy before. He has also played a hitman. I don't know the name of the movie, but he played a hitman who falls in love with this chick that they took for ransom because they want the money from her father, and it's like a comedic, action thing, kind of like something. I think it was called The Hit. It was something, but he's playing that, and obviously right there it's like you just gave away the plot. You just gave away everything in that trailer. Like, it's called Flight Risk. I would have liked it better if it was just like, okay, they're in the plane. All right, cool. They're in the plane, and someone's not saying what they're supposed to. The question is, who can you spot the knot? What's going on? That's different. Okay, cool. You got me there. But when that happens, like, okay, we got this. It would have been better if Mark Wahlberg, because I like movies where the character, the everyday, ordinary average Joe or average or Jane are just minding their own business, doing their routine and they stumble upon something and get pulled into something that they were not, expecting. Like Matthew Broderick in War Games. He just wanted to see the new games from Protovision, and he got a lot more than he bargained for. He somehow ended up inadvertently causing World War III because he spoke to Joshua. He just wanted to play the games that they were playing. He thought they was about games. He did not know if it was some, war room, things like that. Cellular, played by Chris Evans before he became Captain America. He gets a call from Kim Bergsten. I don't know her last name, but she is captured by Jason Statham, and they want a video from her husband because her husband saw dirty cops doing something not cool. He had a video. They're trying to get the video. She calls from a broken phone that she managed to fiddle with and get a call from him, convinces him, hey, I need your help. I need your help. And he's just a surfer dude, but he chooses to help. And he gets rolled into it because he was just trying to help. And when Jason Statham character asks him, who are you? You're not this, you're not that. How'd you get involved? He flat out says, I just answered my phone, dude. I just answered my phone. There's that movie. There's another movie called The Net. Sandra Bullock, she's a computer analyst, and someone she knows gives her a floppy disk, shows her the floppy disk, and said, hey, hold that for me. Keep that for me. I'm going to come to you. I'm going to go pick it up. I only sent it to you because I trust you. Put it on hold for me. And there's people who are after her because she has the disc. They want the disc. Because apparently that disc has a back room that gives them codes and stuff like that. So there's that one. There is another movie. There's so many good movies. Like Unstoppable, Chris Pine and Denzel Washington. It was Chris Pine's first day, Denzel Washington's last day. In the movie, I mean. And they have to stop this train that has combustible chemicals that could cause a huge explosion, enough to take out an entire town. And this was a runaway train. So their mission is to try to intercept that train while on a train to get it. There is, there's that. There's also another movie called Rapid Fire with Brandon Lee, the late Brandon Lee, may he rest his soul. There was an Italian, crime family that was going after a Chinese crime family because they felt that they were not getting an equal fair share of the cut. And as to show some sort of message, they end up, Xing out someone who is associated to the Chinese crime family. Brandon Lee's character, Jake, sees this because it takes place at a museum. He saw the whole thing. Now he's being sought after by this Italian crime family, while the Chinese crime family doesn't know anything about it. And, you got dirty cops, dirty FBI agents, This dude just was at a party. He was invited to a party, and that's when he saw everything. And now he's fighting for his life and has to, is taken from LA to Chicago. He is in an unfamiliar element, Those movies I like. What I'm trying to say is the movie Flight Risk would have been better if Mark Wahlberg was, in fact, a pilot. Was told, hey, this is your job. You're going to take these people from point A to point B. That is your job. And they're on the radio, calls in and says, hey, you need to return back. It seems like there's some issues in your come turn, blah, blah. Mark Wahlberg's character says code to actually, double check. They always do code. And the guy doesn't do the code. And he realizes, yeah, we're not going back. This is not right. And so something happens, and there you go. I think I would have liked that. I think if it would have done something like that, I was like, okay, well, what's going on? Like, okay, wow, an everyday average Joe who's done his job for X amount of time, all of a sudden is in a situation that is clearly not okay. I would have loved that. I would have loved to have seen that, and if it would have done that route, I would have most likely watched this movie. But yeah, they don't make movies like they used to anymore. It's it's the same concept over and over again. Yeah, like, okay, but well, the movies you just talked about, the same concept, the people don't know what they're doing. Yeah, you're right, but it's more relatable. It's one of those things like, what would I do if in that situation, in any given situation, what would I do? And not only that, trains, like, I don't know what I would do with a train. I don't know how to control a train. If I witnessed a murder, witnessed something I wasn't supposed to see, yeah, do I go to the police or what? Do I take this with me to the grave? I'm giving a gift. I'm giving her a toy of a robot. Like, what was it? Will Smith's character, Enemy of the State. He got a hold of a chip, and they're calling him an enemy of the state because he, it was like one of those things. 3 Days of Condor with Robert Redford. He just worked, you would think, okay, yeah, that works and it doesn't work, but it works because he worked for the government, literally just went outside of the building to go get lunch, comes back and finds all of the people he knows are, like, neutralized, and they're coming after him because they missed him. All because of some sort of propaganda kind of thing. Can you imagine? You just stepped out the room, you come back, and everything is in disarray when it wasn't before, when you know for a fact it was not like this. And now you gotta run for your life. Now you're fighting for your life. Those are the movies I like because no matter what situation it is, you're left with that human aspect. That could be you. You're just driving down one day and you see a huge car accident, something at a Final Destination. That's actually what happened to me. I had a real life experience, seeing car accidents right in front of me. Couldn't do anything about it because of a snowy, bad storm. And I was like an hour away from home because I was working. And I basically was in survivor mode. Top of which, one time, myself and my whole family, we were waiting for a dental appointment. And I'm not going to go into details of what we saw, but we saw something that you would only see in the movies. And by the time we were done with the appointments, the police were there. And I'm pretty sure I saw someone. Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to go. I'm pretty sure that someone is no longer here with us, But like I said, in those given moments, what do you do? We say, oh, I would do this, I would this. Would you really? Would you really? You can't trust this person, you can't trust. That is like the worst feeling of asking yourself and questioning, who can you trust? And in some cases, it doesn't have to be life-altering. It doesn't have to be like, my life is on the line. Other times it's just like, wow, I can't trust you. No one likes betrayal. No one likes that. But in those movies I like the most because it's more like the human aspect. It's not it's exaggerated, but not to a point where there's action every 2 minutes. It's to a point where you're relating to the character. You're rooting for the character. You are on the same page as the character. You don't know what's happening. They don't know what's happening. You guys are only along for the ride. And that's how it should be. Now movies nowadays don't have that reliability anymore. They're not the same anymore. So, yeah, let me know in the comment section if you guys agree. If you don't agree, okay, cool. I will say this, please be respectful. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing with people, but you can at least be respectful. But yeah, let me know in the comments below. If not, that's fine. But yeah, they don't make movies like they used to anymore. They really don't.